Okay. Okay, we'll start that over. I don't know why we got booted. Again, I have a felony complaint here. And you can hear me in the jail, correct, Mr. Person?
Yes.
Thank you. It alleges that on or about March 13th at 1932 Hoyt Avenue, City of Lansing, Ingham County, State of Michigan, that you allegedly, contrary to law, commit the act in count 1, a police officer fleeing 3rd degree under the penal code. It alleges that while being an operator of a motor vehicle to whom was given a visual or audible signal by hand, voice, emergency light, or siren by Officer Tyrese McClinton, a police officer who was in uniform, and the officer's motor vehicle was identified as an official police motor vehicle, acting in the lawful performance of his duty, directing the defendant to bring his motor vehicle to a stop, did willfully fail to obey such direction by attempting to flee or elude the officer in an area where the speed limit was 35 miles per hour or less, and that this was contrary to Michigan Compiled Law 750.479A3. Count 1 is a felony. The maximum penalty, 5 years and or $5,000 in fines, and the Secretary of State shall suspend operators or chauffeur's license for a vessel privileged to operate shall be suspended for a period of not to exceed 5 years. Count 2, weapons carrying concealed, alleges that you did carry a dangerous weapon, that being a pistol, concealed on or about your person, and whether concealed or otherwise in a vehicle operated or occupied by said defendant, that being a 2010 GMC Yukon, contrary to MCL 750.227. Count 2 is a felony. The maximum penalty, 5 years in prison or $2,500 in fines, and a mandatory forfeiture of the weapon or device is required under the law. Count 3, weapons, firearms possession by prohibited person, alleges that you did possess or use or transport a firearm when ineligible to do so because you had been convicted of firearms possession of loaded firearm in or upon a motor vehicle, an offense punishable by imprisonment for more than 1 year, and the requirements for regaining eligibility had not been met. Contrary to MCL 750.224 F6. That is a felony. The maximum penalty, 5 years in prison and or $5,000 in fines, mandatory forfeiture of the weapon or device is required under the law. Count 4, police officer assaulting, resisting, obstructing. It alleges that you did assault, batter, wound, resist, obstruct, oppose, or endanger Officer Tyrese McClinton, a police officer of the Lansing Police Department, that the defendant knew or had reason to know was performing his duties, and that this was done contrary to Michigan Compiled Law 750.81D1. That's a felony. Maximum penalty is 2 years and or $2,000 in fines, and a consecutive sentence may be imposed under MCL 750.506A if the assault was committed in a place of confinement, or under MCL 750.81D6 for another violation arising from the same transaction. Counts 5, 6, and 7, all weapons, felony, firearm. They allege that you did carry on your person or have in your possession a firearm, that being a pistol, at the time you committed or attempted to commit, in count 5, the felony of flee and elude, 3rd degree. In count 6, the felony of firearms possession by prohibited person. In count 7, the felony of resisting and obstructing an officer. Count 5, 6, and 7 are all contrary to Michigan Compiled Law 750.227B. Those 3 counts are each a felony. Maximum penalty, 2 years consecutively with and preceding any term of imprisonment imposed for the felony or attempted felony conviction, and a mandatory forfeiture of the weapon or device is required by the law. There is a count 8, weapons, firearms, reckless use. It alleges that you did recklessly or heedlessly or willfully or wantonly use, carry, handle, or discharge a certain firearm, to wit, a pistol, without due caution and circumspection for the rights, safety, or property of others, and that this is contrary to Michigan compiled law 752.863A. That's a misdemeanor with the maximum penalty 90 days in jail and or $500 in fines. The court may suspend hunting privileges for up to 3 years under MCL 752.864. There is an habitual offender second offense notice. It says, take notice that the defendant was previously convicted of a felony or an attempt to commit a felony in that on or about November 2nd, 2022. He was convicted of the offense of firearms, possession of a loaded firearm in or upon a vehicle in violation of MCL 750.227C in the 30th Circuit Court for Ingham County, State of Michigan, and therefore defendant is subject to the penalties provided by MCL 769.10. That is 1 1/2 times the maximum sentence on the primary offense or a lesser term. The maximum penalty cannot be less than the maximum term for the first conviction. Do you understand the charges read in counts 1 through 8 and the habitual offender and the maximum penalty on each?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you have the right to be represented by counsel. Ms. Schroeder is representing you today for the purposes of your arraignment only. You have the right to be represented by counsel at each stage of the criminal prosecution and if you're questioned by law enforcement. If you cannot afford to hire an attorney, you can make a request to have the public defender's office appointed to represent you at the expense of the public. Do you understand that right?
Yes, ma'am.
He's requesting court-appointed counsel, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Person, you have the right to remain silent. Anything that you say and anything you put in writing can be used against you. You have the right to plead guilty. You can plead not guilty or you can stand mute. If you stand mute, this matter will continue all the way through to your jury trial. And you have the right in this matter to have a preliminary examination as to counts 1 through 7 because those are all felonies. At the time of your preliminary examination, you have the right to require the prosecutor to put forth sufficient evidence to establish if they have probable cause that a crime was committed and probable cause to charge you with a crime. You have the right to have that exam within 21 days of today's date, unless you waive that timeline or the court finds good cause to go beyond the 21-day timeline. Do you have any questions so far?
No, ma'am.
You have the right in this matter to proceed again to jury trial. You have the right to presumption of innocence. So you're innocent until proven guilty. You have the right to require the prosecutor prove each element of each of the charges being brought against you beyond a reasonable doubt at your jury trial. And you have the right to remain silent at that trial and not have silence be used against you. You have the right to confront and cross-examine in court any of the witnesses called to testify against you. You have the right to call your own witnesses to court or to present evidence that you believe show a defense to the charge being brought against you. You have the right to waive your right to remain silent and testify on your own behalf if that's what you decide to do. And you have the right to be considered for pretrial release from custody. We'll address your bond in a moment. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
For the purposes of his arraignment, is he pleading not guilty?
He is, Your Honor.
You're currently scheduled for a probable cause conference before Judge Tony Flores, March 28, 2024 at 8:30 in the morning. You have a preliminary examination before Judge Flores, Thursday, April 4th at 8:30 in the morning. Your preliminary examination must be held in person at the court. You can't appear via Zoom, however, for your probable cause conference. Did you get a copy of the notices to appear for Judge Flores and his Zoom instructions?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you currently employed?
Yes, ma'am. Taco Bell.
What's Taco Bell?
The one over there on MLK.
What's your home address?
Well, it's 1316 Edward Street.
Lansing?
Excuse me?
Is that in Lansing?
Yes, ma'am.
What's your phone number?
517-749-6513.
Are you currently on probation or parole?
Yeah, probation.
For which court?
I have to report down on Kalamazoo Street, so I'm not sure what they call that.
You don't know what judge it is?
Well, last time I seen a judge, it was Dragon Chuck.
Do you have other matters currently pending in court now?
Do I have other, what?
Do you have any other matters pending in court that haven't had a trial or a plea on it yet?
No, I don't think so. I took a plea on my last case, so
You took a plea on, was it the weapons charge?
yeah, felony CCW.
Okay, have you been sentenced?
No,
Okay. How many times have you missed court?
well, I just missed court just this one time, and that was because I was confused on which court dates was which, and that was because I had a FOC court date in Ottawa County, and I had a court date here, like, and they were really close around the same day, so I just was confused.
That's interesting. You want me to believe you only missed court once your whole life?
No, I didn't say my whole life, man.
Well, I asked you how many times have you missed court? I said, how many times have you missed court? You said once.
I thought we were talking about on this matter right here, as far as my
Which matter?
As far as when I was supposed to be sentenced on the plea that I took. That's what we were just talking about.
Yeah, I'm not talking, you're not here for that case. You're here for a new case that I just arraigned you on. I want to know how many times have you missed court in your life? Too many to count?
No, but only like a handful of times, though, not too many to count.
What's a handful? Because my hand has 5 fingers. Do you think more than 5 times or less than 5 times?
I don't think it was no more than 5 times.
Okay, gotcha. I also have people of City of Lansing, I believe this one is. Yes, you have a collections warrant on this file because you owe $338 and you never paid it. If I just look at this file alone, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 bench warrants on that file by itself. You still want to go with the handful answer?
Girl, I've never had a court date for that file. They always told me to just come and report downtown, and I always come and report downtown.
This is for a driving while license is suspended from 2019. You've had multiple court dates. You've also entered a plea on it, and then you were referred to collections. I'm talking about in this particular file from the time it was pending, meaning the time you were arraigned in 2019, you have missed court on that driving while license suspended 4 times. You told me in your life you've only missed a handful of times. So it sounds like you're actually someone who habitually doesn't come to court habitually. And you're currently on bench warrant right now, correct? On other matters?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, when are you gonna make payment on this?
Well, I guess, I mean, as soon as I be able to, find out or get out on these charges, and that will be as soon as possible.
Okay, whenever you're released, you need to contact the clerk's office so that you can get on a payment plan.
Okay.
Counsel, you can address bond.
Thank you, Your Honor. As it does sound like Mr. Person may have some holds on other matters, I would ask the court to allow him to have a bond that will at least get him some credit on this new case. I would ask for a low, either 10% or cash surety on this. Mr. Person, can you confirm what street did you say that was? Was it Everett or Edward?
Edward.
Edward Street. All right, thank you.
I think I put Everett too. Can you check that file? I think I put I still have the file. It's Edward Street.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any other bond argument, counsel?
Just that it sounds like he is employed and he does have family in the area and he has children he has to pay child support on. Thank you.
I have 7 kids here.
Okay, well, outside of the fact that he does not go to court, he has a history. I have a bond report here. I should indicate that, which indicates that the defendant has multiple active warrants for bench warrants for failure to appear, and that he has failed to appear multiple times. And so there is a risk factor as it relates to his willingness to return to court. Outside of that, these charges plus the charges that I read on his conviction overwhelmingly indicate to the court that he is a high risk for the safety of the community. And so a low cash surety or 10% bond would not be appropriate to secure the public safety. Bond will be set at 50,000 cash surety with GPS tether. While out on bond, you need to come to all of your court dates. You're not to possess a firearm. You're not to travel outside the state without approval of the court. You're not to use drugs or alcohol. You're not to engage in any assaultive or threatening behavior. You need to report to pretrial services within 48 hours of your release. Do you have any questions about your bond conditions?
Yeah, is that 50,000 on all the charges you just named? Or is that 50,000 on just one charge?
50,000 on this, that's per file. So this one file, you have 8 counts. So it's just 50,000 bond on that file, okay?
Okay.
Okay, any additional matters for the record, counsel?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Thank you, you're all set.
Thank you.
On the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Michael Yates, file number 23-02569 FY. Appearance, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Assistant Public Defender Aaron Schroeder on behalf of Mr. Yates. Is this a collection file or a new file?
I have a new file and then I also have a collections file.
All right, thank you. I was not aware that there was a new file. I was just told it was a collections file.
Okay, so I assume you did not get a chance to speak to him?
I did not, Your Honor, due to that. Thank you.
Okay, well, we can call him back and last, because that'll give you an opportunity to speak to him while I handle a competency matter.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Yates, we'll call you in just a moment. On the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Hector Posadas Zavala, file number 24-00759 SM, counsel appearance.
Thank you, Your Honor. Assistant Public Defender Aaron Schroeder on behalf of Mr. Posadas Zavala, pardon me.
Thank you. Are you Mr. Posadas Zavala?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Posadas Vazala, I do have a misdemeanor complaint here. It alleges that on or about March 15, 2024, at the area of 3101 Glen Brook, City of Lansing, Ingham County, State of Michigan, you allegedly committed the act in count 1 of domestic violence. The allegations are that you made an assault or assault and battery upon Natalia de Huelves, an individual with whom you had a dating relationship, contrary to Michigan compiled law 750.812. And that's a misdemeanor with the maximum penalty of 93 days in jail and or $500 in fines, and a consecutive sentence may be imposed under the law if the assault was committed in a place of confinement. Do you understand the charge and the maximum penalty there, sir? Did you hear my question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you understand the charge and the maximum penalty? I didn't hear the response.
Yeah.
Okay. You have the right to be represented by an attorney, and Ms. Schroeder is representing you today for your arraignment only, but you do have the right to be represented by counsel at all of your court appearances on this file, and you have the right to be represented if you're questioned by law enforcement. If you cannot afford to hire an attorney, you can make a request to have court-appointed counsel appointed at the expense of the public. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You have the right to have a jury trial. You have the right to the presumption of innocence. You're innocent until proven guilty. And you have the right to require the prosecutor to prove your guilt by proving each element of the charge being brought against you beyond a reasonable doubt. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you, but at your trial, you have the right to remain silent, and that can't be used against you. Do you understand that? I don't know why we're not picking up sound from the jail.
For me,
You
ma'am?
understand? Okay, I think he needs to speak up.
Yes, ma'am. I understand it.
Okay, thank you. You have the right to confront in court any of your accusers and cross-examine them. You have the right to have witnesses subpoenaed to testify on your behalf. You have the right to waive your right to silence and testify at your own trial. And you have the right to present evidence at trial that you believe show a defense to the charge being brought against you of domestic violence. Is he requesting court-appointed counsel?
Yes, he is, Your Honor.
Okay, the court will enter a plea of not guilty on your behalf. You're currently scheduled for a pre-trial conference before Judge Tony Flores, March 25th at 10 o'clock in the morning. You may appear via Zoom, okay?
Okay.
What's your home address?
1907 New York Avenue.
In Lansing?
Yes.
What's your phone number?
517-894-1497.
Are you currently on probation or parole?
No.
Do you have any other court cases pending right now?
No.
You can address bond counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Posadas Zabalia indicated to me that he has no prior records. He is originally from the Lansing area. His entire family is here. The individual he will be living with at that address he has given to the court would be his mother. And he has provided good contact information to me. I'd ask the court to consider him from a PR bond, considering all those factors. Thank you.
I don't see any prior criminal history noted here. Bond will be set in the amount of $500 personal recognizance. There is a no contact order in place for the protection of Natalia de Huelves. You're not to have contact directly or indirectly with her, okay? Can you say it again?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and so you're not to be within 1,500 feet of wherever she lives, works, or goes to school, or any other activities that she's engaged in. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you need to make sure you report to all of your court dates while out on bond. You're not to engage in any assaultive or threatening behavior. You're not to travel outside the state without approval of the court. You're not to use, purchase, or possess alcohol or drugs without a valid prescription. You're not to possess a firearm or any other dangerous weapon. Do you have any questions for the court?
No, ma'am.
Any additional matters for the record?
None, Your Honor. Thank you.
You're all set, sir. On the record, in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Kadena Jackson in file number 24-00756, appearance please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Assistant Public Defender Aaron Schroeder on behalf of Ms. Jackson for purposes of arraignment only. Ms. Jackson has made application for the Public Defender Office. Thank you.
Are you Kadena Jackson?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Okay, Ms. Jackson, today's the date set for an arraignment. I do have a misdemeanor complaint here that alleges that on or about March 14, 2024, at North Larch Street at East Shiawassee Street, City of Lansing, Ingham County, State of Michigan, you did commit the act of domestic violence. It alleges that you did make an assault or an assault and battery upon an Antoine Lilly. That's an individual with whom you have a dating relationship, and that this was contrary to Michigan compiled law 750.812. That's a misdemeanor. Maximum penalty is 93 days in jail and or $500 in fines, and a consecutive sentence may be imposed under MCL 750.506A if the assault was committed in a place of confinement. Do you understand the charge and the maximum penalties?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay. You have the right to be represented by counsel. Ms. Schroeder is representing you today for your arraignment only. You have the right to be represented by an attorney at all of your court dates, and you have the right to have an attorney represent you if you are questioned by law enforcement. If you can't afford to hire an attorney, you can request to have an attorney appointed at the expense of the public. You understand your right to counsel, I presume?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
Okay. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say and anything you put in writing can be used against you. You can plead guilty, you can plead not guilty, or you can stand mute. If you stand mute, the matter will proceed to a trial. You have the right to jury trial, and you have the right to the presumption of innocence. You are innocent until proven guilty. Are you all set over there? You're looking down at
Yes,
something.
ma'am. I
Okay,
was just adjusting my myself.
okay, thank you. You're innocent until proven guilty, and you have the right to require the prosecution prove your guilt at your jury trial by proving each element of the charge of domestic violence beyond a reasonable doubt. You have the right to remain silent at your trial and not have that be used to prove or imply that you're guilty. You have the right to question or cross-examine any of your accusers or any witnesses called at your trial to testify against you. You have the right to call your own witnesses, or you can present evidence at trial that you believe show a defense to the charge being brought against you. Do you have any questions about those rights?
No, Your Honor, I do not.
Okay. Is she requesting court-appointed counsel?
She is, Your Honor, and you'd ask for that not guilty be entered this time.
Or will enter a plea of not guilty at the time? Okay. Do you have any other matters pending with the court?
Your Honor, I am really not sure. I would assume I do, but I'm not sure at this time
Why would you assume you do?
because I left the state for almost a year due to my child's father passing. I have a family emergency, and I wasn't sure if everything was resolved before I left. And when I came back, I did contact your courts. It was rather confusing, and I'm trying to figure that out now.
You currently on probation?
No, ma'am, I am not.
Are you on parole?
No, I am not. No, ma'am.
What's your home address?
625 Walnut Street in Lansing.
Is that Mr. Lilly's address?
No, that is not.
Is there an apartment there?
No, it is not. It is a residential home.
What's your home number?
517 area code 894-1572.
You're currently scheduled for a pretrial conference before Judge Tony Flores, Monday, March 25th at 10 o'clock in the morning. You should have received Zoom instructions. Did you, and a notice to appear for him. Did you get that?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Counsel, you can address bond.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would ask the court to consider Ms. Jackson for a PR bond at this time. She has some significant medical situations going on at the moment. Not going to necessarily get into too much of it, but it is to a point when I was speaking to her in lockup, though I believe that she is going to need to follow up at the hospital regarding some of the conditions she and I were discussing. She does have an infant child whom is that she is currently with family that is needing to be breastfed as well, in addition to some other things. And she's just at a bad spot at the moment, and just medically. So I would ask for that, as well as for an adjustment to bond to allow for some third party to make contact with what I'm assuming is going to be the protected party on this matter with a no contact order, because it is my understanding that he is in possession of quite a few, if not all of the items that she put together regarding this infant child, playpen, food, other items, and she needs to get those things back. The place she's staying on Walnut Street, I believe it's in a facility called Hannah's Place. It's meant for folks who are having, I guess, domestic issues with children. Thank you.
My records would indicate that she is in something, that she's in warrant status at the circuit court. You have a matter pending in the circuit court?
I believe I do, ma'am. I spoke with Jessica Martin, the social worker for LPD, because she was able to help me get into the program called Hannah's House. These warrants were quite some time ago. It's really kind of confusing, but I was seen before the courts, and I was advised to call the magistrate to try to resolve these issues. That is why I'm seeking legal counsel, because I am rather conflicted on how to go about resolving this situation. I just had 2 direct pregnancies within the last 26 months. I'm trying to get reestablished in Lansing, and I would like the opportunity to be able to clear my name to be a part of the community respectfully, Your Honor.
Ms. Schroeder, it says that she has a matter that was bound over to the circuit court.
I didn't see anything in our system regarding her when I looked her up, so I did not know that there was anything pending for her.
They closed the case for bench warrant status, so that's why it's inactive.
She did, Your Honor, she did indicate.
Okay, it looks like someone's gonna need to contact the circuit court, because it says that they closed the case. However, it is in bench warrant status. So that's what the issue is. However they entered it.
Yeah, the social worker told me, we looked it up too. It was really confusing.
Someone's gonna need to deal with. No, I can see why you would be confused if they closed the court for the case, but they have you listed in bench warrant status. And that's why on your criminal history report, it indicates that you just have something bound over there, like it's lingering. But if you're gonna get an attorney, your attorney should be able to assist you in getting that matter resolved. Nonetheless, your bond is set in the amount of $500 personal recognizance. You need to make sure you come to all of your court dates. There's a no contact order in place between you and Antoine Lilly. You cannot have any contact directly or indirectly with Antoine Willie. You can't cause a third party to make any contact on your behalf either. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay.
Your Honor, is that including for her for the child, the property that he has?
Sorry, is the child what you're calling property, or is their
No.
personal property?
No, the child, the property
his
that the child
personal
had,
property.
the food for the child and the playpen and the pack and play.
Clothing, everything. I would just request maybe police assistance or we have mutual family.
Okay, so
I'm
you're
sure.
saying that you have a child in common with Mr. Lilly?
In questioning, yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay, and then
But
there is some personal
Mhm.
items.
Everything of ours, personal is there. And I would like to retrieve our stuff and continue with the no contact because I am gonna set a personal protection order in place immediately.
Okay, I got some questions though. Were you living with Mr. Lilly? Because you gave me the address of 625 Walnut as if that's where you were living.
I was living with Mr. Lilly until just yesterday, and I realized that we cannot reside. One of the officers told me
Okay.
I can't use
All right.
the same
Okay.
address.
Okay, and the reason why I'm cutting you off is because I advise you of your right to remain silent. And not that I'm telling you you need to be silent, but I don't want you to say anything on the record that could be detrimental to your case, okay? I just want you to answer my questions. In answering that, you don't have to go into detail about the other things surrounding what officers told you and so on and so forth, okay? So you
Yes,
have
ma'am.
your personal items at his address. You can go once with law enforcement to retrieve your personal items.
Yes, ma'am. I will be contacting the social worker through LPD to see if she could help me. It's quite some ways away. It's about an hour away.
Okay,
I don't have proper transportation.
Okay. I'll leave that to you and law enforcement to configure that. Nonetheless, also while you're on a bond, you're not to engage in any assaultive or threatening behavior. And although you have no convictions, ma'am, you have quite a bit of assaultive charges that have been brought against you. So I'm gonna reiterate, you're not to engage in any assaultive or threatening behaviors. Do you have any questions about what might constitute assaultive or threatening behavior?
No, ma'am, I do not.
Okay, and so also while on bond, you're not to travel outside the state without first getting approval of the court. You're not to use, purchase, or possess alcohol or drugs without a valid prescription. You're not to possess a firearm or any other dangerous weapon. Again, you need to report to all of your court dates. Do you have any questions about bond?
No, ma'am, I do not.
Any additional matters for the record, counsel?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Thank you, you're all set, ma'am.
Excuse me, Your Honor. I would ask at this time for medical emergency services if I could get some help to call an ambulance to get to the hospital immediately from here.
Okay, you can let the jail know that you need an ambulance.
Okay, thank you for your time, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's here.
Do I have this? Okay, we have Brandon White on the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Brandon White, file number 24-00758.
I'm sorry, I forgot to ask at the beginning, could we please do him last so that he's alone in this room when he gets arraigned?
No problem, okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
No problem. On the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Robert Pearl, file number 22-021245 SM. File number 22-00030 OT and 31 OT and 22-00813 OM and 21L27020441 OT. Let's see here. Council appearance.
Thank you, Your Honor. Assistant Public Defender Aaron Schroeder on behalf of Mr. Pearl. Mr. Pearl is represented by the Public Defender Office on all files. It appears our office never withdrew from them. So I would say that we are on the files. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Pearl. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 failure to appear. matters that I believe all are before me. Let me double check. Yep, they're all before me, and you were supposed to be here on file number 22-01245. For 2 counts of attempted police officer resist, obstruct, oppose. It looks like I had you scheduled to be here back a year ago, March 23rd. Sorry, March 20th, 2023. You appeared to be, I issued a bench warrant. You were arraigned on, it looks like August 8th, 2023, and you were given a next court date, but you failed to appear. What happened?
I ended up losing my paperwork that very same day because I had it, instead of having it, given to me, I had it mailed out to my mother's address, which I'm currently living at this current time.
Gotcha. Unfortunately, you failed to appear on that 5 times, so you knew you had a case pending, correct?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Oh, okay. You have a no insurance that you were supposed to be in court on back on April 11th, 2023. You failed to appear. What happened?
That one should have been adjourned due to me going to the DMV and going to get my license.
No, that's not what happened. We adjourned your March date for you to go to the DMV, and you never came to your next court date.
Okay. Well, then that one, I would see how that one was confusing.
Oh, okay. Well, it looks like you failed to appear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times on that file. Your other file, you failed to appear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. The other file, you failed to appear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. So, counsel, you can address bond. Please don't ask me for a PR.
Your Honor, I just asked for some type of bond that will allow him to accrue some credit while he's awaiting his next court date. Thank you.
And I would like to state for the record, Your Honor, I was just released from Clinton County on a 7411 personal recognizance. I'm currently waiting sentencing.
Okay, that's noted on the record. File number 22-01245. Bond is set in the amount of 2,000 cash only. On file number 21, L2702041. Your bond is set at 500 cash surety. File number 22-00031. Bond is set at 500 cash surety. File number 22-00030. Bond is 500 cash surety. File number 22-00813. Bond is 500 cash surety. Do you have any questions for the court?
I recently just got a job, and I wanted to know if the court will be able to notify my job that
No.
I'm not gonna be able
I
to.
absolutely won't be calling anybody's job to tell them that you're in jail. That's not my responsibility. Any other questions?
Will I be able to be transported to Clinton County on the 2nd?
I don't know if they writ you, then you could be transported.
Because I have sentencing for my 7411 on April 2nd at 8:30 a.m.
I hear you. We're gonna see you over here probably in between them too. You got cases over here too. Our cases, I think, probably outweigh a number of cases you got over there, but you're gonna take care of your cases here too. If you want to be rated over there, if you can't post the bond, that's up to them. We don't need to make those arrangements for you. You were supposed to make arrangements to get yourself to court. We didn't give you one time to do it. We gave you 7 times to get yourself to court on your own. I think that's more than gracious. You've proven to the court more than 7 times. You could care less about coming to court or taking care of your issues. So you can post the bond, you can make whatever calls you can to your attorney, your family, your fairy godmother, I don't care, so that they can call and make your job aware that you're sitting in jail because you don't come to your court dates, okay?
Well, being homeless
You
with
need to
no
stop,
phone.
sir.
Bye. Bye.
Okay.
I have famous David.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Schroeder, I believe the next one is a collections file. I can put you in the room with Mr. Yates and after I do this collection file, okay?
Very good, Your Honor. Thank you.
On the record in the matter of the people of the city of Lansing. City of Lansing, I might have moved that. People of the state of Michigan versus Brittany Cade Barnes. File number is 21-00229 FY. Council appearance. Oh, I'm sorry, this is a collection. Okay, can you step forward, ma'am, so I can see you?
Is that
You're
better?
Brittany Cade? Yes, that is. You're Brittany Cade Barnes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Ms. Barnes, today's the date that's set to address a collections file because you owe $8,578.13. And
Yes,
you're
that
aware
is
of that,
correct.
ma'am?
Yes, that is correct.
You were supposed to be making payments, but we've not received one in over a year.
If it's okay to explain myself, Your Honor,
Absolutely.
I had lost my home. I got new landlords and they raised everything and I wasn't able to afford my home. I went through a phase. I lost everything in my life. I went into a very deep depression. My family's trying to help me get the proper help. I am supposed to start with Meridian Magnesium. I'm just waiting on a start date because it's a large group of us, so I didn't have enough trainers. So I am in the works of trying to get things back together and back situated. And I have every intention on getting back on a payment plan and paying you guys or paying the courts.
Okay, so you're not employed, but you're expected to start your employment?
Yes, ma'am. I'm just waiting for a start date.
Okay, how did you end up in jail? Did you turn yourself in on this warrant?
I was riding with somebody.
Okay. Okay, so you see that even if you don't take care of your business, it still can catch up with you, correct?
Yes,
You
ma'am.
just riding around with somebody and you end up in jail over a bill that you could have been making as little as $20 a month on to stay out of jail. You'd hate to lose this opportunity with magnesium, wouldn't you?
Yes, I would.
Yeah, well, if you don't pay your bills, you will lose it because we'll be forced to put you in jail over not paying the bill. And you accrued this $8,500 bill with the court. And that's a hefty bill, ma'am. So you're gonna want to get on some kind of payment plan, which it looks like you already were on it. You said you were gonna pay $80 a month. It looks like since the time that you payment plan, which was 2 years ago, you've only paid about $130.
Yeah, yes,
so-
Your Honor.
So you're gonna start work when?
They haven't gave me a start date, so I was gonna call them Monday to see when, because they said the problem was there's too many of us, it's a big group of us, and they don't have enough trainers. And I haven't heard nothing since last, or this following Monday, so I was gonna call them Monday to figure out what was going on.
What's your home address?
I currently live with my sister, 7185 Pat's Drive, Diamonddale, Michigan.
You said Pat, P-A-T?
PATS, yes, Your Honor.
Pat's Drive. What city was that?
It's Diamonddale, Michigan. 48821.
Phone number?
517-599-1746.
You're gonna call your potential employer, Meridian Magnesium, on Monday. The expectation is you're gonna report to collections in person.
Yes, Your
By
Honor.
Tuesday. If you do not report in person by Tuesday, a warrant will issue for your arrest, and then you won't be able to get your training from Meridian Magnesium. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you make sure you report. You'll be able to talk to them about your financial situation and then get put on a new payment plan once you meet with them, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're all set.
Thank you.
Okay, I need to put the jail in the meeting room with Ms. Schroeder. Let me see. Probably close my meeting rooms. And let's see, that's for Yates. Right, you have to do as well, and then Tar. Who's the prosecutor? Nina. Okay, I see a Megan Tar, and I believe that's our attorney, Joseph Levine. Did I pronounce that right?
That's correct, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. And then Robert Tar. Who is Robert Tar?
That is Megan's father, Your Honor.
Okay, is there a particular reason why he's in the virtual courtroom?
I wasn't expecting him. I don't know.
Okay, he is present in the virtual courtroom. He's been present the entire time. I'll allow him to stay, but he's got to remain muted. I typically don't allow other people to be in there unless they have a part in the litigation at hand. We've never seen the prosecutor yet, so we're reaching out to see where the prosecutor is.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
No problem.
I don't want to interrupt you, but it looks like you're on a slight pause. Is that true?
No, we are not, but we have been having technical issues this week. Our Polycoms were down up until about 11 o'clock today. So can you see us now?
I can see you fine. I just wanted to make a brief comment if I could, but I didn't want to do it in the place of something else you have going on.
Oh, yeah, I am in a pause. I thought you meant that the screen was paused. Yes, we are
No,
waiting for
I'm sorry,
them
Honor.
to handle another matter. Yes?
This hearing was adjourned several times because we were waiting on a report from the forensic center. I cannot tell you how accommodating and helpful your staff was in terms of resetting dates a lot more often than I know they wanted to, and being extraordinarily communicative with me in terms of what was going on and when the new dates would be. I wish I could clone your staff and port them into other courtrooms. I just wanted to say thank you, particularly Ms. Nash. Everybody's been absolutely fantastic, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate the comment and compliment on behalf of my staff. I'm glad that they could be of good service to you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see. Okay, Ms. Petrowski, can you hear me?
Yes,
Hi,
I
sir.
can, Your Honor. Hi.
You need help?
Oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, yeah, someone entered the courtroom. I was trying to see who it was. Okay. Let's see. On the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Megan Elizabeth Tarr, file number is 23-02871 FY. Council appearance.
Assistant Prosecutor Paige Petrowski on behalf of the people.
For the record, Joseph Levine on behalf of Ms. Tarr, who is present. Your Honor, we consent to this hearing taking place via Zoom, and I thank the court for the opportunity to do so. And again, I thank you regarding scheduling.
Thank you. And thank you for your patience while we did handle arraignments. We had a number of issues this week, but one of them also scheduling. So the judges are filling in for the magistrate in her absence. Nonetheless, I do have a report here from the Department of Health and Human Service Center for Forensic Psychiatry. It was dated for March 5th, 2024. Did both parties get a copy of that report?
Yes, Your Honor, I received a copy.
Yes, Your Honor, we received it on Monday.
Okay, very good. Okay, so that report gives the opinion that the examiner believes that Ms. Tar is competent at this time to stand trial. Is there a reason for us to object to the body of the report or the conclusion and findings?
The people have no objection to the body conclusion or findings of the report.
We agree on behalf of the defense. I will stipulate to the court's consideration of the report and its conclusion, and based on that, have no objection to the court making a finding the defendant's competent to stand trial.
Okay, based on the report, the court will adopt the findings of the report and incorporate this report into the court record. I will enter an order of finding Ms. Tar competent to stand trial. This was a felony that originally had a exam that we didn't proceed to. Do you need a new probable cause conference date set or just an exam?
I think probably just an exam, but actually I had a question for the court in terms of timing. Back in the beginning of October, when you signed the order for competency, you also signed one for criminal responsibility. The information I have from the forensic center is they won't proceed with that evaluation until they receive the court's order on competency following today. I do understand that's an affirmative defense for the circuit court level, but I don't know how this court typically handles it. Sometimes some judges will allow that to proceed before we make a decision on exam. Some want to move the case forward, and I'm not sure what your preference is, Your Honor.
In a case like this where there was an order of competency and they're just waiting for criminal responsibility, I would move the case forward and set it for a next action date. And then if you get a report that can be used as your affirmative defense, you obviously can take that with you to circuit court if this is a matter that gets bound over.
Thank you, Your Honor. In light of that, I don't think we need another PCC. I'm happy to if the people are requesting it. I would just ask for an exam date a little further out so I have some time to circle back with the people and discuss the matter. If it's something that's going to result in a waiver, we would notify the court in advance. Otherwise, we'd already have our date.
And the people are not requesting a second PCC date and have no problem with setting the prelim out as far as needed.
May 9th. Okay, so that's May 9th at 9:30. That date works.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
So we'll proceed to examine at that time. Any additional matters for the record?
Nothing from the people.
Not from the defense, Your Honor.
Thank you. You're all set for today.
Thank you. Actually, I just got done saying no, and now I have a question. I have prepared the order for the court to enter on the finding for competency. Is the best way to get that to you to email it to your staff?
No worries. We actually have one that we printed off already, so we'll enter that one as well. And you won't have to send it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your
Have a good
Honor.
weekend, Your Honor. Thank you again.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Ms. Schroeder, do you know if Mr. Feigelson is available?
I am unsure, Your Honor. I could walk down the hallway and see if he is here.
Yeah, Mr. Baldwin appeared much later than he was supposed to be here.
I will check and see if he is here. Would you like him to log into Zoom or come down to the court if he's available?
No, he can come right on Zoom.
All right, one moment, Your Honor.
Okay, let's see. I need to bring the jail back, I think. Let's see. I have to close it to bring it back. And then I need to do Yates and then Barnes.
Here you go, Mr. Yates.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Mr. Yates is there. I did send Ms. Schroeder on a quick errand to go find another attorney, so give me just a moment. It's fine, I'll take it.
Unfortunately, Your Honor, it does not appear he's in his office. I'm not sure exactly where he is at the moment.
Okay. On the record in the matter, the people of the state of Michigan versus Michael Yates, file number 23-02569 FY, council appearance.
Thank you, Your Honor. Assistant Public Defender Aaron Schroeder on behalf of Mr. Yates for purposes of his arraignment only. Mr. Yates has made application as to this file on for Public Defender, so we'd ask that not guilty be entered in his behalf. Thank you.
Okay, I'll note that he's requesting a court-appointed counsel and a plea of not guilty will be entered. Mr. Yates, today was the date set for an arraignment. Hold up here. I don't know what's going on. Mr. Yates, you okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you were looking off to the side. What were you looking at?
I wasn't, I'm really sure.
Excuse me?
I'm not really sure, ma'am. I was fixing my pants.
Oh, okay. Today's the date set for an arraignment. I do have a felony complaint here that alleges that on or about July 7th, 2023, at the area of 6821 South Cedar Street, City of Lansing, Ingham County, State of Michigan, that you did allegedly, contrary to the law, commit the act in count 1 of retail fraud first degree. It stated that while at Lowe's, which was open to the public, you did allegedly steal property of the store that was offered for sale at a price of $1,000 or more, contrary to Michigan Compiled Law 750.356C. That's a felony. The maximum penalty is 5 years in prison and or $10,000 in fines, or 3 times the value or difference in price of the property stolen, obtained, or attempted to be obtained, whichever is greater. To impose a fine of 3 times the value, the defendant must admit the amount, or it must be determined by a trier of fact. The court may order reimbursement to the state or local government for expenses incurred in relation to the incident, including but not limited to expenses for emergency response and prosecution. That also states that the court shall order law enforcement to collect DNA identification profiling sample before sentencing or disposition if not taken at arrest. Do you understand the charge and the maximum penalty?
Yes.
Okay. Are you all right? You seem to be a little disoriented.
Stand here.
Oh, okay. I saw your eyes rolling through your head. Are they okay?
Yes, they're just fine.
Okay. Okay. So you have the right to be represented by counsel. You're represented by Ms. Schroeder for today's purposes of your arraignment only. You have the right to be represented by counsel at each stage of the criminal prosecution, and you have the right to be represented if you're questioned by law enforcement. If you cannot afford to hire an attorney, court-appointed counsel can be appointed at the expense of the public, okay?
Yes.
The court will note that you are requesting court-appointed counsel. You have the right to plead guilty, you have the right to plead not guilty, and you have the right to stand mute. You have the right in this matter to proceed to a preliminary examination within 21 days of today's date. At the time of your preliminary examination, you have the right to require the prosecutor meet their burden of establishing that they have sufficient probable cause that a crime was committed, and then probable cause sufficient to charge you with the crime. If this matter proceeds beyond the date of. Are you under the influence of something?
No.
Okay, if we were to test you, will we find that you're not under the influence of something? Because I believe you are.
I'm not under influence of anything.
Okay, has he been PBT'd?
I don't think we can take him this morning. Do you want me to do a PVT?
Yeah, because he can't keep his eyes open while I'm talking to him about very important rights here.
There's something to hold my hair back or something. I don't know what's going
His hair,
on. But
his hair, no,
I don't know what,
your hair is
I don't
not,
know what's going on. But
your hair is not, your hair was not in your face. It was perfectly pulled back. You can go and we'll deal with you later. Because I don't believe that you are not under the influence. I think you're under the influence of something. And so I'm not going to be able to proceed with your arraignment at this time. I think I have this. Sir, come to the table, please.
Get in.
Okay, Ms. Schroeder, I'm just gonna have you fill in while I go on the record on Mr. Baldwin.
Okay.
Okay, on the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Raymond Baldwin, file number is 24-00693 FY. Ms. Schroeder, can I have your appearance for this limited purpose?
Thank you, Your Honor. Assistant Public Defender Aaron Schroeder, filling in for assigned counsel Steve Feigelson as to this matter. Thank you.
Okay, what's your name, sir?
Raymond Baldwin.
Okay, Mr. Baldwin, what time are you supposed to be in court today?
It was a 9 o'clock Zoom this morning.
Okay, and so at 9 o'clock, I saw you in my Zoom. I asked you to start your video. What did you say to me?
When I finally was able to get logged in, there was somebody else in there.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
There was somebody else in the video.
What do you mean there was somebody else in the video?
Like you guys had already did the case and then you moved on. It was a whole other client.
There's more than one person that's assigned at 9 o'clock. Everyone was waiting for their case to be called. But I'm talking about you. I specifically sent you a request and said, start your video. You declined the request because it tells me, and then you told me now was not a good time.
I hadn't even put Zoom on my phone until this morning.
You were in our Zoom courtroom this morning. I asked you what your name was.
Logged in, there was another guy in there and that was it.
I don't know who the other guy is. And when you log in, so when you log in, you're in my waiting room and then I have to admit you in here. So you were admitted into the courtroom.
Okay.
I had a conversation with you. And then you logged out and then I had your attorney call you. He told, and then you appeared to have emailed the court. I told you you were to appear here in person. Why are you showing up here at 3:30?
I was got here as soon as I can.
Where do you live?
I live in Lansing, but I wasn't in Lansing this morning.
Oh, you were out of town and you had court?
He told me I could do Zoom, so that's what I went with.
But you didn't do Zoom.
I had to log in as soon as I could.
No, you don't get to log in as soon as you can. You get to log in when you're supposed to, and you're supposed to meet with the court. And when the court tells you, and if you log in, you need to have video and you need to be prepared to have court. You don't get to choose what time you have court.
I understand that. I was saying that when I finally was able to get through, it seemed like it was too late because I saw another black male in the video.
There probably was another black male in the video because he had court at 9 o'clock.
And I thought that that was another case, so I logged right
There
out.
probably was another case, but that wasn't your case.
That was my fault. I thought it was another, I love it. I didn't want to think that was, because you said lawyer, so I thought it was something that popped up weird.
No, your lawyer was here in person.
I didn't see.
Yeah, he was in person. He advised the court that you wanted to continue to your exam. You're scheduled to be here in person, March 21st at 8:30. Yeah, not 3:30. What time are you gonna be here next week?
8:30.
You're gonna be here at 8:20, so that you can be prepared at 8:30, correct? Okay, do you have any questions for the court? Okay, we had prepared a bench warrant, I'll quash it, you're all set. You're free. Okay,
I
who
will
was
advise.
that? Was that?
Sorry.
Oh, thank you. You said you will advise Mr. Feigelson?
I will, Your Honor. I was just about to put a note in. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe, was that Mr. White? That was
Yes.
in there? Okay. On the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Brandon White, file number 24-00758. Counsel appearance.
Thank you, Your Honor. Assistant Public Defender Aaron Schroeder on behalf of Mr. White for purposes of his arraignment only. Mr. White, I believe, is going to be requesting the services of our office. Thank you.
Okay, and you are Mr. Brandon White?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. White, today's the date that's set for a arraignment. I do have a misdemeanor complaint here, sir. It alleges that on or about March 14th, 2024, at 812 East Jolly Road, which is in the city of Lansing in Ingham County and state of Michigan, that you allegedly, contrary to law, committed the act in count 1 of assault or assault and battery. The allegations are that you did make an assault or assault and battery upon the following person, that mean being a Kathleen Davis, and that this was contrary to Michigan Compiled Law 750.811. Count 1 is a misdemeanor and the maximum penalty is 93 days and or $500 in fines, and a consecutive sentence may be imposed under the law if the assault was committed in a place of confinement. Mr. White, do you understand the charge and the maximum penalty?
Yes, I do.
Okay, as indicated by your counsel for the purposes of today, we will enter that you are requesting court-appointed counsel in this matter, correct, sir?
Yes.
And we'll enter a plea of not guilty. I will advise you of your rights, though. You do have the right to counsel, and so if you can't afford counsel, an attorney can be appointed to represent you at the expense of the public. You have the right to remain silent. Anything that you say and anything you put in writing can be used against you. You have the right to plead guilty. You can plead not guilty, or you can stand mute. If you stand mute, the matter will continue all the way through to trial. You have the right to a jury trial, and you have the right to the presumption of innocence at trial. So you're innocent until proven guilty. You have the right to require the prosecutor prove your guilt by proving each element of the charge being brought against you beyond a reasonable doubt. You have the right to remain silent at your trial and not have silence be used against you. You have the right to question or cross-examine any of the witnesses that the prosecutor calls against you. You have the right to call your own witnesses or present evidence that you believe show a defense to the charge being brought against you. You have the right to require the prosecutor prove each element of the charge of assault or assault and battery beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you have any questions about those rights?
I understand them.
Okay, very good. You're currently scheduled for a pretrial conference. It's before Judge Stacia Buchanan. That's on Monday, March 25th at 2 p.m., okay?
Okay.
Did you get a copy of your notice to appear?
All right. I have another question.
Yes, sir.
I really don't want to go back to my group home. I'd like to go somewhere else.
Okay, well, I understand that that may be a concern or something that you may need, but the court doesn't have any information to address that at this time, but we'll make sure your attorney gets you some assistance with that, okay? Because we don't know what's going on there, okay? Okay, sir?
So I'm getting released today?
I'm not sure what you're gonna be getting yet. I'm gonna review this file. let me know, what is your address first? Do you know your address?
It's 4750 Church Street, Onondaga, Michigan.
Do you have a phone number at all?
Yes, it's 517-994-8008.
Okay. Are you currently on probation or on parole?
No.
Okay. Counsel, you can address bond.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. White has some medical concerns, as evidenced by some of his comments regarding where he is what has been staying previously. I do know he has been connected previously with mental health professionals here in Ingham County, as well as specialized care. I do realize that this is an assaultive type crime. However, I would still ask for a PR bond at this time, given the fact that he does have some significant medical needs that need to be addressed, and he has provided the court with an address that is not the address of where this is alleged to have occurred, as well as a phone number. Thank you.
Okay. A review of the criminal history show multiple, let's see. More than 8 charges, all of them the same, assault and battery. So there's some level of assaultive history, although no convictions are noted there on the file. The defendant did meet with both pretrial services and I believe the social worker. Based on the indications from their interactions, the defendant is going to be remanded to Ingham County Jail for a CATS evaluation.
What does that mean?
That means you got to go and be evaluated so that we can see if you are being properly medicated or if you need any assistance, okay? With your mental health.
Your Honor, if I may.
Yes.
He's indicated, and I believe it's true, having previous interactions with him, he is an active consumer of community mental health under their supervision and adult foster care. I don't know if a CATS evaluation is necessarily appropriate.
Okay, well, that was the recommendation after meeting with the social worker. We received a recommendation that he be remanded for that purpose, and that the social worker will work with community mental health staff to coordinate some care for Mr. White. So it's more than appropriate. It's probably what he needs at this point, because he's before the court for an assaultive action, and there's a history of this behavior. So releasing him back to the home without any further engagement or investigation as to what he may need or may be missing to address that action would be inappropriate. There's also obviously a threat to the public safety if we release him with this kind of history without addressing anything. And so he will be remanded to Ingham County Jail to have a CATS assessment, and the social worker from the Lansing Police Department will work with community mental health to coordinate some care for him. Any additional matters for today's record?
No, Your Honor,
When
thank
will
you.
when will that be?
I can't tell you when that will happen. The jail can give you more information, okay, sir?
I can explain it to you then. White was white. Just have a seat right here, okay?
I
Thank
just wanna
you.
go. Oh, no, I'm not,
Hang on. Hang on, keep on flying. It's not really snack, then shut right here, okay? Okay.
Did we get anything on Mr. Yates?
I gave him a PBT. He was all zeros on the PBT.
Okay, he can come back in. I do still believe he might be under the influence of something, and obviously may not be alcohol.
Just have them.
Okay, sir, back on the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Michael Yates. Mr. Yates, I'm going to attempt to continue this, although I do have concerns about what's going on with you and whether or not you've ingested or are involved in some kind of activity that might have impaired your ability today. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so if, while I'm continuing this arraignment process, if I, for any reason, get the feeling that you're not able to concentrate or keep your eyes open like right now, then I'm going to have to remand you, okay?
My eyes are open.
Okay,
I don't understand why.
I recognize you believe that your eyes are open, but what the court can see and everybody who else who's watching can see that your eyes are. Is there something behind you?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So again, if I get a concern, then I'm not gonna be able to proceed with this because I don't think it's in your best interest to proceed if you're not in a state and where you can fully digest and understand the veracity of what's going on here and the charges that you are facing. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Again, I have a felony complaint and I've advised you of those charges. Again, it's 1 count of retail fraud in the first degree from Lowe's, alleging that you did, while it was open to the public, steal property from the store, which was offered for sale at $1,000 or more. Again, the maximum penalty is 5 years and or $10,000 or 3 times the value or difference in price, whatever was stolen, obtained, or attempted to be obtained, whichever is greater. The court has already entered a plea of not guilty on your behalf. The court has also noted that you're requesting a public defender to represent you. You have the right to proceed to a preliminary examination in this matter, and you have the right to have that exam within 21 days of today's date, unless you waive the timeline or unless the court finds good cause to go beyond that 21-day timeline. They didn't put a notice to appear in this file. Yes, they did. Okay. At the time of your preliminary examination, you have the right to require the prosecutor put forth evidence to establish that they have sufficient probable cause that a crime was committed and probable cause to charge you with the crime. Do you understand those rights?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You have the right, if this matter proceeds beyond a preliminary examination, to proceed to a trial, and you have the right to jury trial. At the time of your trial, you have the right to the presumption of innocence. You're innocent until proven guilty. You have the right to require the prosecutor prove your guilt by proving each element of the charge being brought against you beyond a reasonable doubt. You have the right to confront in court and cross-examine any other witnesses that the prosecution calls against you. You have the right to have witnesses subpoenaed to testify on your behalf at your trial. You can waive your right to silence and testify for your own self at trial, or you can present evidence at trial that you believe show a defense to the charge being brought against you. You have the right to require the prosecutor prove each element of the charge of retail fraud beyond a reasonable doubt at your trial. Do you have any questions about those rights?
No, ma'am.
Are you currently employed?
No.
How do you support yourself?
I was employed about a week ago.
Where were you employed?
A week ago.
I said where?
Here, I worked at the Lex Community Warming Center.
You worked at Lex Community Warming Center. What did you do there?
I just wanted the homeless in. Just all you did is it was a place for the homeless. They had somewhere to sleep, stuff like that.
I didn't ask you what it was. I asked you what did you do there?
I had a wand. You wand the people in to make sure they have no weapons on them. That's what I did.
So you were security?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so then you were security. Now you wanded them?
Yeah, yes. Well, I mean, it wasn't security. It wasn't, yeah, that's all I had to do.
Okay, and you were paid for doing that?
Correct.
Okay, who were you paid through?
Detroit Ministries, I think.
Okay, and then you only worked there up until a couple of weeks ago?
Correct.
Okay, what's your plan for work now?
I'm looking for employment now.
Okay. How many times have you missed court before?
I think the only time I missed court is because I was incarcerated somewhere else, but that's about it.
You think?
Yes, ma'am.
When were you incarcerated someplace else?
I was incarcerated most of 2022.
Oh, okay. So, did you forget that you had some court dates in 2020?
Yeah, I guess I did.
Okay, so you probably missed court other than when you were incarcerated?
Right, correct.
Okay. What's your home address?
I don't have one. I'm homeless.
Okay. How long have you been homeless, sir?
Probably like 4 years.
Okay, so were you staying at the warming center, or were you just working there?
Oh, I was just working there.
Okay, so you don't have a place where your mail goes?
No.
What's your phone number?
517-614-5599.
Currently scheduled for a probable cause conference before Judge Tony Flores. It's going to be Friday, March 22nd at 9:30. Again, you have a preliminary examination Thursday, March 28th at 9:30 before Judge Flores. Did you get a notice to appear?
Yes.
Okay. What's the matter with your hair?
Nothing. It's just in my face.
It's not in your face.
Well, not no more.
You're under the influence. I'm going to remand him. He's under the influence of something. And we need to find out what it is.
That is
The hair's not,
insane.
yeah, it is insane. I'm discontinuing this arraignment. I don't believe that he is sober-minded right now. Your hair is nowhere near your face. You can't keep your eyes open. We'll try this. I'll be here all weekend. We'll try it again next time. You're remanded in custody until the time that the court can conduct your arraignment, okay?
So you want your own cell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. That's all we have.
Thank you.
Thank you.